kinetic curve. All right, so let's see. All right. We are live here on Facebook. Welcome. For those of you that were joining, hoping to see Rod Vilhauer in the studio. And yes, I realize I'm going to eat a lot of crow from this online, but his staffer made a mistake, and he is actually at the Memorial Day ceremony right now. So on Friday, when I go to my church, that Rod goes to as well, he's been there forever, and I guess I should say I go to Rod's church. But when I go to our church, I will discuss with him rescheduling. So anyway, welcome, Gurpanda Rocks. I will bring you up as a co-host for the first time in eons. So Gurpanda Rocks will introduce herself once we get her up here. Again, it takes a little bit of time to start cranking up the audience and the numbers, but Rocks, glad to have you back. And she's there. How do you hear me, Miss Rocks?
Lima Charlie.
Got you loud and clear as well. How's life going for you right now? Just waking up? All right, everyone. Let's get ready to go. So, where'd you go, Rox? Yep, let me bring you back up. Okay, just sent you a co-host invite again, Rox. I know how this goes. All right, you appear to be back. What happened there?
Coho limbo.
Okay. All right, well, welcome back. We're going to get started in about 12 minutes. I don't think much has changed. We're now live streaming on Facebook and X, and I think then we go over to YouTube, but that's after the fact. So we are going to continue to expand our platforms. As I said before, and I'll reiterate at the start of the show, we were supposed to have Rod Vilhauer on today, but unfortunately, he is at a Memorial Day ceremony. Bad staff work on his team's part. So yes, I'm putting the blame on his staffers and not him. I can tell you as a candidate, the last 20 days of the election, you kind of go where you're told to go. That's just the way it works because your campaign manager is managing everything, and you've got a lot to do. Rod will, of course, wipe the floor in 2 days with Mark Hill, as he did previously. And one thing that I think was curious about this is I believe it's kind of an online debate, because I think Mark Hill was a little intimidated by, a group of men showing up to support Rod. And, get this, they were all wearing black shirts with swords on it. Yes, I literally saw that mewling in one of the Facebook groups. I got to tell you, folks, it's going to be a hard day because I am pretty much in fuego. I don't know that I have been this mad at anything in a long time. I am just tired of the overall wimpiness of Americans, and specifically American men. It drives me insane right now. So, Rox, since you've been around military guys, would you say that we're generally a more forgiving type, or would you say that, we just look at civilian men and basically just shake our head going, what in the heck are you guys doing?
Yeah, pretty much. I do it myself. I'm a female. And, yeah, we're also forgiving because we're like, poor thing just doesn't know, I guess, in a way. But mostly, yeah, shaking the head.
That is exactly it. It's just kind of shaking your head going, what in the, I really wish, it would almost be worth it just in terms of overall voting, because they would never vote Democrat again. If the government would ship someone out of the country and make them live in one of the various S-holes around the planet for 6 months, just make them live there, just so they could see what the rest of the world lives like. And so when they come back, they'd have an appreciation of this nation. It's honestly bothers me that we're trying to turn Texas, from a nice, great state into Saudi Arabia. I've had enough of it. It's got to stop. Good Lord. I told you I'm on fire today, Rox. This is going to be an interesting show. So, Anyway, Rox, for those of you that don't know, Rox, tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, I think a lot of you have been here before. Rox, look at the panel. Does anybody not know you yet? But we don't know who's actually watching online either. So,
I think I know most of these guys up in here. At least I follow them, and they follow me. Yellow weapon request mic if you want to come up and say anything. If you don't know me, I am a medically retired 15-year EOD tech from the United States Air Force. I've been in several countries around the world. My last station was here at Eglin, where I still live around that area, which is EOD Central, where we train our little EOD techs as well. And we have one of the biggest land masses here that we monitor and control. We work with the United States Secret Service. We also go on all kinds of foreign dignitary visits. Basically, we're the bomb squad for the military. If you don't know what EOD is, if you ever watched The Hurt Locker, that is an over-dramatized version of what that is. But yeah, not real life, but that's what it is, the bomb suits and all, and the robots.
I've gotten to where I really kind of hate military movies. I mean, they just don't, and flying movies are the worst. I mean, as visually appealing as Top Gun Maverick it was, the tactics are, you just laugh at it. That's all I got to say. It was basically a clone show of a movie.
Don't ruin Top Gun Maverick for me.
All right.
There.
Well, I did like the fact that he had a Spitfire. I would love to have one of those, and who knows what will happen. All right, so why does it have that up? Why? Okay. Rox, those are the old notes. What do we got going on here? Let me get back to that. Okay, yes. All right, Rox, make sure you take a look at the question of the day. Nick, you as well. I had the wrong show notes up. So, all right, we are about 7 minutes from getting started. The rules are pretty much the same. Rox, pull up anybody into the speakers platform that you think could help. Rox, you haven't met Nick. Nick is a family guy. He runs Kinetic Curve Marketing, and I met him through the church that I attend. He was very instrumental in helping me get to the vote total that I did. If I had to guess, I'd put his contribution somewhere between the 10 and 15% addition range. And had I had more money and been able to engage with him sooner, it could have been a different outcome. But that's a story for another day. All right, so let's see. What else have you got going on, Rox? You been busy with anything else lately?
Not really. Just trying to get back on my feet. Been medical issues a lot lately, and some lost myself, and just remembering everything we've lost on this Memorial Day.
Yep, we will definitely talk a lot about that. So I'll be coming to you with opinions on that in just a few minutes as well. A little bit of history today because that's kind of the stuff that I enjoy. And as always, if you've got an opinion or a question, feel free to ask. As I said, Nick monitors the chat, so that will be up and running very quickly. And when I say the chat, I mean the stuff on X. You're not monitoring Facebook, correct, Nick?
I actually am today. That's why I needed your login.
Got it. All right. See, we're getting more and more technologically astute. Soon we will be able to play videos, but that's a different challenge for a different day. So anyway, let's see, Rox. Do you happen to know, I heard there were some explosions in Los Angeles. Do you have any data or details on that over the weekend?
I do not. I've kind of just been watching movies over the weekend and decompressing from real life, but I'll go look into it and see if I see anything here in a minute.
Hey, who sent that? Daniel?
So that is Daniel, and I guess you're not the first person to say it because he came up with that GIF real fast.
Howdy Arabia being banned. Yeah, I am definitely all for banning Howdy Arabia. So, Rox, what movies were on the agenda this weekend? I actually went and saw one myself.
Well, movies that I've already seen, just kind of like nostalgic. And one of them you already ruined for me, which is Top Gun Maverick. Thanks for that. I'm just kidding. I like it. I thought it was sweet and it looks cool as hell. I'm not a pilot though. I wish I was. That's amazing. I know you would definitely rip it apart, just like I do every explosion in every movie. So.
Yes. All right, so so you watched Top Gun. I went to go see The Mandalorian and Grogu, and again, I am a big Star Wars fan. I have seen all of the Mandalorian series, and I would tell you it's a decent movie. I mean, it's great. It was nice to go to the movie theater and not have to deal with the woke mafia. I mean, I'm shocked. And so it was very pleasant. It was a good story. A little bit, too much whiny teenager from one of the characters. But, overall, not bad. If you're looking for the overall Grogu storyline to be advanced, you're not going to get what you want. Spoiler alert. But, it was an entertaining show. And I think it would be safe for kids to see. I don't think there was anything too bad in it. All right, we are at 10:56, so the rules of the space are as usual. Don't talk over each other. Today being Memorial Day, I hope there are a few more people that want to come up and actually speak. Do not curse on the show. Mom hates it. And by the way, I was at my mom's 80th birthday yesterday. I hope I live to be that long. And you know how, once you get to my age and you've got older parents, you realize that they have everything they need. So gifts are... you just look for something sentimental, and I definitely succeeded because she teared up at the small gift I gave her. So I did good yesterday as a son. So making her tear up. So anyway, that's my objective measure. What about you, Rox? Do you have any birthdays coming up for your parents?
You said birthdays?
Yeah.
I just had one, and it seems like everybody here on X has had a May birthday month. Like
so
everybody
May
I know
birthday.
has had a birthday.
So that would be like an August impregnation thing. That's kind of weird. I was just trying to figure out why that would happen.
Fall weather, cozy weather. You start cuddling up. There was a term for this I used to hear.
Well,
used to be some.
September babies there's usually a bigger, curve because of the, December winter months there. So who knows? All right.
But I just had that birthday and a lot of other birthdays out here. I mean, it's like nonstop. Like all Tauruses, so we're all bull, stubborn-headed, but also fiercely loyal.
No,
so,
you're not stubborn at all. I'm a Pisces, so I'm all dreamy and I don't live in the real world.
Oh, whatever. I got that one wrong in the stars.
Yes, they most certainly did. That is definitely true. All right, Rox, what is your pet peeve?
Oh, I have a few. I'm usually very tolerant, like how whenever you open this up,
yeah,
very tolerant of other people. I'm very forgiving, or, at least try to always look at things from all angles and understand people. But my biggest pet peeve are hypocrites, like absolute straight up hypocrites who will say something and complain about one thing and literally just did it themselves over and over and over. So hypocrites are probably my biggest number one pet peeve.
I got to tell you that there's a lot of that. I'm right there with you. That is a huge one for me. I would a little bit more micro than your macro because you're definitely spot on. I despise hypocrites. And what's funny is politics is full of hypocrisy. But my pet peeve is I despise being late. I cannot stand it. I arrive exactly when I want to be there. And there are sometimes that might be strategically after the start of an event. For example, I don't need to sit through 40 minutes of previews. I can go to YouTube and look at previews. So I do arrive at the movie theater a little bit late, but that doesn't bother me at all. What about you, Nick? What is your pet peeve?
Oh, this one's gonna rattle some people. You ready?
Ready.
Biggest pet peeve. Speaking with food in your mouth. If we go to dinner and you are speaking to me with food in your mouth, just expect me to either give you a look, start ignoring you, or blatantly call you out and embarrass you.
That's awesome. Now, do you do that to your daughters, or are they still in the golden age where you let them get away with it?
No. So here we go, right? And this really helps with people who need to think before they speak. You chew, you swallow, then you speak.
There you go. All right, everybody, it is high noon. This is The Reckoning, 25 May 2026, show number 327, and 1 hour of unfiltered political truth starts now. All right, everybody, welcome. That was Taps, as you know, played from the White House last year in 2025. All right, I want to thank all of you, and there have been many that have wished me a happy Memorial Day, and I'm grateful for it, but to be honest, it's not my day. I was not called to give the last full measure of devotion, nor was my co-host Roxy. I know very few who were. Thank God. She may know a few that I do not. Today has always been to me a somber reminder of sacrifice. I think every military family feels this day differently than civilians, especially those who have shed blood for the nation to endure. I'm very thankful today that Afghani aim was poor, that the men who designed the A-10 built a fortress of an airplane around me to protect me. I'm thankful Taliban and ISIS rocketeers never made a lucky strike, and that Iranian theater ballistic missiles don't have American guidance systems, or today might have been my day. I prefer November 11th, Veterans Day, be my day rather than Memorial Day. Now, I began with a phrase from one of the greatest, if not the greatest speech ever penned by an American president. He spoke as the tide of the Civil War had just been turned on the small fields of a Pennsylvania town. Men like Joshua Chamberlain and Winfield Scott Hancock had won the decisive battle of the war over the Confederacy, and the Confederacy would ever be in retreat since Gettysburg. Abraham Lincoln's words resonated on that day so long ago, but if one thinks about them, they ring as true today. It is for us, the living, rather to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, and that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from the earth. As we enter the second term and the second year of President Trump's presidency, I have to ask, will we be dedicated to that great task? Will we usher in a new birth of freedom? Will we not let government of, by, and for the people perish from the earth? My resolve has never wavered since I offered my life to this country at 17. My life has never been mine. It has always belonged to the United States. And I am eternally grateful for all this nation that has given me. And I'm grateful even that it did to me what it did, because we are trying to be a nation of laws. Now, I think they broke a few of them, but that's a different story. I am grateful most of all that it did not take the life of my co-host nor my life, that it did not require us to give all. But on this day, I ask that you remember those who did, those that gave everything they had to give. So I ask each of you to stop and think about the soldiers, Marines, sailors, and airmen who died so that you may be free. It is their day. Remember them. Now, Memorial Day compels Americans to confront a word we often avoid, and that is debt. And I'm not talking about the financial kind that Congress pretends will magically resolve itself. We know it won't. But I'm talking about the older, heavier meaning. You know, words that mean something to me, that mean something to Rox, the word duty. All right, I have a sacred obligation to this nation. Okay, sacred, that's got to mean something too. The kind of duty that's carved into the headstones at Arlington and cemeteries across the country. It is the debt paid in full by those who gave their lives. Now, liberty is not an accident. Its purchase price is steep. I often laugh at the inalienable right of freedom. It's not an inalienable right because it comes with the ultimate price. Yin and yang. We get freedom, but the cost has to be paid in American blood. So while you're grilling in your backyard, complaining about work, or raising your family in relative peace, remember these luxuries would not exist We are living on the dividends of American soldiers' courage. On one side of our country right now, we have the young Americans, many whom have never hesitated when their country asks for everything. And on the other, we have a political culture and a governmental ruling class that bemoans even the smallest fiscal or disciplinary restraint. The fallen give their lives while both Austin and Washington can't give us spending cuts. It doesn't seem fair. The gluttons in our government sip cocktails and engage in debauchery on our dollar, and the truly good are buried in Arlington National. There are currently 430,000 men and women interned at Arlington. So I want to talk a little bit about, overall, where have we come as a country? In other words, things that, kind of, if you listen to the show a lot, I'm big on numbers. I like to quantify things if I can. So there have been approximately 600 to 700 million Americans that have lived in these United States since we became a nation in 1776. Of that, only 41 million have served in our armed forces. So the total deaths, though, are pretty small, to be honest. All right, I think it's right around 1.1 to 1.2 million of those 41 million. I'd really like to see a percentage stacked up against other nations. And it shows you that the American way of war is the right way. But I thought I'd walk through this. World War II was our most costly war at roughly 291,000 men and women lost. The Civil War, 215,000 lost. World War I, 53,000. Vietnam, 47,000. Korea, 33,000. And then other wars, 6,800 in the Revolutionary War, and then our wars, Rocks, took between 5,000 and 7,000 men. In short, while 6 to 7% of all Americans who ever lived served, only 1.6% of those who served died in combat. All right, that's pretty telling. The vast majority of service members returned home, though many carried wounds. These numbers underscore the profound but statistically rare sacrifice of those killed in action relative to total service. Now, I know we all feel grateful on this day, and many of these patriots are buried in Arlington National Cemetery. So I thought I would walk through a little bit of history on Arlington National. All right. Arlington National Cemetery is called that because it was the Arlington plantation owned by the family of General Robert E. Lee. And the primary decision maker for turning the Lee family estate into Arlington National Cemetery was a Union quartermaster named General Montgomery Meigs, with approval from then Secretary of War Edwin Stanton. Initially, they seized Robert E. Lee's estate in 1861, not to use as a funeral, but because they needed to occupy the Heights. That was a very strategic hilltop overlooking Washington, D.C. Eventually, though, they decided to seize his property through a tax scam. All right, they called it a tax auction, but on January 11th, 1864, Mary Custis Lee, Robert E. Lee's wife, could not pay her taxes as there was a wartime law targeting insurrectionary areas. Her agent's attempt to pay was actually refused, so the government bought it for $26,800. Now, Meigs was a former friend and colleague of Lee's who became bitterly opposed to him after he chose the South rather than be the commanding general of the armies of the North. Many people don't know that, but Robert E. Lee was offered command by General Hancock of all the armies of the North. So, but he said he could not raise his sword against Virginia. All right. So they converted 200 acres of his plantation into a national military cemetery and began burying people close to the house to make it undesirable for the Lee family to return. Meigs said that he was very satisfied as the burials expanded. In an 1882 Supreme Court case, all right, they ruled in United States versus Lee that the tax seizure was illegal, and they forced the government to pay George Washington Custis Lee, his son, Robert E. Lee's son, 150,000, but he decided to go ahead and sell it back to the government rather than displace the thousands of graves. And ever since then, it has interred our soldiers. So, see, even back then, the court was interfering and costing the government money. So far, in Operation Epic Fury, only 13 Americans have qualified for internment in Arlington National. And I'm hoping that's the limit. Rox, what are your thoughts on Memorial Day? And do you feel like, as a military veteran, that this day has lost its significance and that many people just view it as the first day on the lake or mattress sales or hot dogs and hamburgers in the backyard?
Yes, for this day, it's absolutely one where you should take a knee and respect and honor those that have fallen. And unfortunately, a lot of people have turned into their 4-day weekend for the military, or military people alike, or even civilians, and they forget what this day is really about, because we do have Veterans Day, which is a complete opposite remembrance of a different type of day. Memorial Day is for those who sacrificed and gave the ultimate sacrifice and should be remembered. It is a day of humbling respect for your freedom and who gave their all and gave up the other sacrifices, even their own families.
Yep. Welcome, Sass. Welcome, Anti-Commie. Glad to see you back. All right. I totally agree, Rox. I think it's a day whose meaning is often lost. It's good to see that flags still get flown. I'm just waiting for them to start saying, we can't fly those flags. That's not diverse enough for us. Can see it coming. It's coming. As I said, Saudi Arabia here. They're going to ban the American flag and the Texas flag here pretty quick. All right. So I mentioned that Operation Epic Fury had only cost us 13 lives so far. So what's going on with Iran right now? All right, both sides are continuing to be tight-lipped and claiming that we are close to a deal. President Trump said earlier that he's in no hurry to get one. This weekend contained a lot of positive momentum towards a peace deal and an extension of a ceasefire. That was according to the New York Times, and we all know they lie. But I want to go through a couple of these positions because I don't think we're close to a deal at all. So, again, for those of you that don't follow it, the Institute for the Study of War on X is an outstanding resource. So let's just look at, nuclear non-proliferation commitment. All right, President Trump has said, all right, that Iran must be prevented from acquiring a nuclear weapon, and that is the core war aim of the United States. The Iranians, we've got their president expressing opposition to pursuing nuclear weapons, while the supreme leader, Khomeini, and his inner circle have made no such commitments. All right, what about uranium enrichment? And Nick, I'll come to you in just a second. All right, a U.S. and Israeli source claimed that President Trump has demanded Iran forego enrichment completely, but Iran has said that they will oppose any new restrictions on their uranium enrichment and have for recent years. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but to use uranium in a nuclear reactor, what do you need to do? How much do you need to enrich it to, Nick? 60%, 90, 80?
No, it's actually quite less than that. Let me put my volume down a little bit. So to use uranium in a nuclear reactor, you only have to enrich it by 3.67%.
All right, so is there any need at all for them to be at the 60% margin?
Not at all.
It's unreal, folks. Again, they play us all the time. Now, does anybody, really expect Iran to keep their word? Absolutely not. What about a little bit of other stuff? What about Lebanon? Surely we can agree on not fomenting revolution in another country, right? Now, President Trump, on behalf of the Israelis, has expressed desire to retain Israeli freedom of action against potential threats, including Lebanon. The Iranians say that the deal will not end the war on all fronts, and Iran will reject any agreement that allows for Israeli operations to continue in Lebanon. What about the Strait of Hormuz? That seems to me to be a critical thing. And honestly, we need to just take over Carg Island, relabel it the Strait of America, and start administering it. I've had enough. Neutron bomb the southern part of Iran. That way we just completely depopulate it. take away all their rockets, all their missiles, and just start administering it for us. So surely the Iranians are going to come to at least some kind of common sense thing, right? No. They are insisting that they have sovereignty over the Strait, and they will remain in permanent control over it, which will include, or could include, charging tolls. What are we fighting this war for? Okay, I mean, I've got to ask. Okay, they are never going to give in. They're like fire ants. We can chemical weapon a fire ant mound, and there's going to be another one in my yard in the next few days. That's what war with Arabs is like. There's a great quote from an HBO series, okay? They suck at war. We kick their tail every single time, but they're really good at never surrendering. It's nonstop with these people, all right? And it will always be. And I'll get to them in a second because, boy, I've got some things coming. Like I said, I'm coming in hot today. This is not a good day. Now, Iranian state media said that the United States will not have permission to interfere with the movement of Iranian ships. Okay, again, military reality is just not, it just doesn't penetrate the Muslim brain. I don't know what the hell they are thinking. I mean, I literally think we could be sitting there. They are, okay, now I've got the good analogy. For those of you that have seen Monty Python and the Holy Grail, they are the Black Knight. We chop off his arms and his legs, and he's, come back here and I'll gnaw you to death. I mean, it's that ridiculous with these clowns. They can't do anything to us, all right? Except they know, as I do, that we have a weak spot. And that weak spot is, of course, the Democrat Party. All right, what about funds and sanctions? Now, President Trump has said that any potential deal would be the exact opposite of what Barack Obama gave to the Iranians before. The U.S. official expressed readiness to give sanctions relief to Iran in exchange for nuclear concessions, but with no money. Iran has said that any deal that does not include unfreezing their $25 billion will not occur. So I got to ask the question, how is President Trump saying we're close to a deal? Why is the New York Times saying we're close to a deal when I just walked through a whole slate of issues? I don't see anywhere that we even have common ground yet. Rox, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think he, despite everything that goes on and a lot of things when he's speaking is to help kind of calm down the tensions, because honestly, I don't think he wants to hurt anybody who is innocent in this, and the civilians. He only wants to target the regiment, and he knows it's going to hurt them either way, right? I'm hoping that, I don't think he's going to fall for it over and over, and he knows how they are, but I'm hoping like they give him a little bit more, a little bit something, or he's going to do it. I'm sorry, he's going to keep his promises, but I also know he doesn't want to devastate the economy or their own economy even further.
All right, so this is what I think. I think we need to continue this, I'm going to call it stalemate for lack of a better term, in about August or September, get ourselves a nice little 90-day ceasefire. And my reason for that is with a 90-day ceasefire, it gets us through the midterms. But the problem is the Iranians know that that's our weak point. And so they're going to do everything they can because they know that the communists will bend to their will. All right, and I'm done calling Democrats Democrats. They're not Democrats. They're communists. I mean, that is just who they are. All right, so got your message on Google Rocks. What can I do to get you back in? All right, you're on the show notes, so you got to figure as I get to the bottom of the topic, I'm coming to you. So that'll
yes, sir, I got it.
Yeah, we gotta regain our rhythm here after a year off. All right, so Nick. All right, so for those of you that don't know, Nick is a civilian guy. He's never been in the military, and he's kind of my man on the street. And so anytime I need an opinion of somebody that's not super dialed in politically, and just so you know, that's not a criticism of him. Why? Because his nose is to the grindstone serving in his church, his nose is to the grindstone building his company, and his nose is to the grindstone raising his 4 daughters. So I admire this man greatly. We're just in slightly different worlds right now in different phases of life. So Nick, as the man on the street, what do you think is going to happen with Iran, and what Do you think if the Republicans or if President Trump puts boots on the ground in Iran, are we going to lose the midterms? Dead air, Nick.
Yeah, I know. So here I am. Here, it's just wow. I'm over here like going to comments and everything. And okay, so will we lose the midterms? No.
Bold prediction.
But yes, it completely depends on how fast it gets done.
Okay.
If you do a quick strike, you get whatever's needed to be done, and at the end of the day, you're able to pull up positive Iran tension from out of this, and the United States continues to win, and oil prices go down. If you can get the average American household to feel in their checking account that Trump is winning, then you're good.
I would agree with you there. And again, I saw something earlier today where they showed that, even though grocery prices have gone up 7% now under President Trump, under Biden in the same time frame, they were 28% up. So again, people don't know that, but it's all about petroleum. Again, for those of you, I've quoted it a million times, and if you haven't seen it, the Billy Bob Thornton Landman clip where he talks about how we have a 120-year based oil economy. All right. It's in everything. It's in this plastic bottle of Mountain Dew that I'm drinking. It's in my tires. It's in your cell phone case. It's in my computer case. It's in everything. When oil goes up, we all suffer. But I got to tell you, we own Venezuela right now. We do. It is de facto an American protectorate right now. As a matter of fact, I believe the White House posted that it should be the 51st state. I am down with that plan. Completely down. Why? What do I want from any territory outside of American territory? Resources. And believe it or not, the theoretical number one petroleum reserve in the world right now is either Venezuela or the Arctic Ocean. We're not sure, but we think it might be Venezuela. So what should we do? We should take Venezuela. We should take Greenland. We should take Alberta. We should take Saskatchewan. And at the end of President Trump's term, we should have more states and all the oil belongs to us. Or as the old saying, and I'm really dating myself here, all your base are belong to us. That's an initial internet meme for back when it really just got first started. All right, so Nick, you think we're going to win the midterms? Rox, do you think we're going to come out of the midterms okay, or do you see, Hakeem Jeffries as the next Speaker of the House?
God, I really hope not. That would be another idiot clown show that I'm not ready for. My brain can't handle it. I really do hope that we win the midterms. I do see positive things positive strides happening there with how people and things are unfolding. I know it'll be very close. Historically, we do not, but I truly, truly hope we do. I think we're getting close to it, and I hope your friend is right, and I hope we can pull through, because if Hakeem Jeffries is a Speaker of the House, oh my God, that's just another clown show like Kamala Harris trying to run for president.
Yeah, it's funny. I called somebody the other day, asked me about my opponent that I ran against, and I said I am exactly the wrong person to ask about that. So he goes, yeah, I called him, and all he gave me was Kamala word salad, so let's meet. So, again, Kamala word salad is definitely in the lexicon now. Sass, you're up. So a question for you, ma'am. Do you think the Republicans have any chance of holding on to the House in the midterms?
Oh my gosh, I had to come back to my phone. I was listening as I was washing dishes. Yeah, I think that there's a chance of us winning midterms if we can get certain things changed around and get everybody on the same side working together. Yeah, I definitely think that we can still win midterms. So sorry, I've only paid. I was listening in, but I was actually multitasking. So
no, I
that's
know
all I
how it
can say
goes.
for the moment.
I totally get it, because that's the way I am often in afternoon spaces if I'm working and doing some other things as well. I'd like to welcome to the space, I see him in there, Scott Pressler. Thank you, sir, for the work you're doing here in Texas. I really do appreciate it. We have got to, and I spoke yesterday with one of his advisors, but Attorney General Ken Paxton is looking good right now. But, if the Republicans don't turn up, it could be a bad day in terms of the primary election that's tomorrow here in Texas. I will be at a watch party for a county commissioner, a friend of mine, a man that endorsed me, and I return the favor. He is a great guy, and I really, really hope he wins as well. All right, and yes, I have already voted for Attorney General Ken Paxton. All right, and that's just the way that goes. The rest of the ballot, I'll kind of keep quiet because I have my opinions, pluses or minuses on the rest of that. All right, let's change topics just briefly. In QAC, you dropped down before I could get you up here and ask you that question. All right, now I believe, and I've often said on this show, that when you look at Europe, you are looking at America 20 years into the future, which is a terrifying prospect for me. Now, immediately before World War II, the biggest threat to Europe was Soviet socialism. During World War II, it was open socialism, i.e. in the form of fascism, the National Socialist German Workers' Party, and whatever I can't remember what the fascist party was called in Italy, but, we have the National Socialist Democratic Party here in the United States. Now, after World War II, the threat, again, was Soviet socialism. And the Europeans embraced socialism, but not Soviet socialism. And they touted the success of their economies while ignoring the fact that the only reason their economies succeeded was because the United States paid for their defense costs and absorbed the costs of wars of containment around the world. Now, when the Soviet Union collapsed and our defense spending waned, although I got to ask the question, did it ever really wane? The true cost of socialism began to be clear. All right, economies became sluggish. The European birth rates collapsed, necessitating third world workers to come in, usually Muslims. Labor, the social services started imploding. Why? Because those same Muslims that came in drained their economic systems, despite never contributing to them. And soft on crime policies destroyed civilized society, and the brain rot of socialism saw Europe embrace the absolutely insane idea of net zero, which led to the self-destruction of their economy. We have seen Europe basically retreat from the modern world into a cold, dark, pre-modern time. So now let's look at what I just described as happened to them as a checklist for what the Democrats want to do. Do the Democrats want to cut defense spending? They always do. Do Democratic economic policies always result in inflation and a slowing of the economy? Yes, they do. Does the promotion of abortion and the destruction of the family decrease the birth rates of the countries Democrats infest? Yes, they do. What about allowing countless foreign invaders in to exploit as labor? Yes, the Democrats do that. Remember, the Democrats have never been madder than at the Republicans than when we took their slaves away from them. All right? The Democrats increase welfare systems to pay for those invaders that they allow in. The Democrats are soft on crime, making people live in fortress communities and allowing murderers and rapists to walk free. The Democrats are still preaching carbon offsets, global warming, to further hurt our economy. For decades, okay, they've made nasty jokes about, and let me just quote a few of them, Barack Obama, the flyover country. All right, Barack Obama, America is full of bitter clingers that just want to keep their Bibles and guns. Yeah, I'm one of them, Haas. All right, Hillary called us what? A basket of deplorables. And remember Joe Biden and the red speech? Berating us as dangerous idiots and threats to the very republic that our blood keeps afloat? And yet people still believe in Democrats. They still elect them. The delusion of the average Democrat even extends so far as to think, and let me quote AOC, that they can pull up on the South. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I had no idea what that means. I don't speak Ebonics. So I had to go and look up the phrase pull up in Urban Dictionary so that I would know what it meant. Okay, it means about to fight. AOC said that New York needs to pull up on Alabama. Now there would be a crimson tide if they tried, and I'm not referring to the university, but rather Yankee blood being spilled. I want to see that war. I mean, did they not realize the good old boys in the South have been waiting for this for I don't know how long? How many memes have you seen where the Southern man or the military man's laying in his bed and he hears a door opening and he just gets a smile on his face as he reaches for his pistol? That's just life. Now, what would happen if the North tried to invade the South again? If the North, as AOC said, pulled up on the South? The South would crush you like bugs. Why? It's really simple. Because Democrats have infested and ruled over the North far longer than they have the South, and everything Democrats touch turns and suffers from the reverse Midas effect. It goes from being gold to absolute manure, in deference to my mom. They have rotted out the core of manhood from their states, and they're in the process of trying to do it here. Diversity is our strength. Unity. Hate has no home. Stop with your gay, pithy sayings, okay? I don't want to hear it. What we need is radical American men to step forward, to stand up for our faith, for our families, for our states, and to say to these villains, and make no mistake about it, they are absolute villains, enough. This is the United States of America, a Christian constitutional republic. You can take your Islam and Saudi Arabia and stick it exactly where you probably stick it in a goat. I have had enough of you and your pedophile prophet. May war be upon him from now forevermore. You guys can tell I'm a little bit fired up today. All right. Now, I've got on there, and Nick, I'd like you to post this, please, a map of Germany with kids listed under the age of 16 and whether they are German or foreign born. This is what the politicians want for the United States. Okay, now maybe they don't all come from Muslim countries, but they want the vast majority of people to be from foreign countries. Why? Because they're dependent on the welfare state so that the Democrats can give them the right to vote, so that the Democrats can be forever in power. As long as you understand that the North Star in Democratic politics is, will this get me more power? That's all they care about. Murdering babies, check, good for me, more power. Costing the average American more money, don't care, check, more power for me. That's all they care about. All right, Rocks, am I just completely off my rocker today? I mean, what do you not see the Muslim threat in the same way I do? Or because we have been in their absolute bogus countries, is that why we see them as a greater threat than the average American? Oh, they're just another religion. We should let them worship the way they want. No, we shouldn't. Nick, I'll come to you in just a second. Go ahead, Rocks.
No, I'm absolutely with you. And people don't realize that this has been their agenda for a very, very long time, many decades, which is to slowly wipe out the white people or the white race. It's just everybody that's not them. It's not really just specific to us. They want to take over. They're slow and methodical. It's the art of war in a different type of sense. And they want to take over. And that is literally what they're trying to do with Sharia law, implementing it. They don't want to convert. They want to invade. And it's a slow invasion. And they have a lot of babies. And it kind of all works together with the other CCP agenda on, stop having babies, push this agenda. The Democratic Party's on their side. And they just keep having giant families. And eventually they just slowly have done what they have done for decades. They do not want to acclimate to our way of life. They are opposed to it. It is in their religion. They have permission to lie to us and kill us if we don't believe in their God, which is a false God.
Absolutely. And they have permission to rape our women and children. Again, we are seeing this massive debate inside my city right now because our weak council. And I heard directly from one of the council members who happens to be of the Jewish faith, I will never vote for a mosque. And what did he do? He voted for a mosque. How do you do that? What goes on in your brain where you betray your constituents like this? I've got to tell you, I am done with representatives that do not represent the will of the people. I talked about this last week. Okay, this is the problem with our political system right now. We do not punish quickly enough the politicians that lie to us. Rox, you're absolutely right. The Muslims have an agenda. The Muslim Brotherhood laid it out. They commit acts of terror to do it, and we do nothing about it. Okay, now we're trying. I will tell you, advancing in the Republican Party priorities is a movement to basically strip Islam of its designation as a religion so that we can strip it of all of the protections that come with the First Amendment. Nick, you wanted to chime in. Go ahead.
So you can't tell me it's a religion and then implement your own court system, your own legal system. The moment you do that, you're not a religion.
I'm with you. And again, let's go into a little history because I like history. Muhammad wasn't even literate. He had to transcribe the Quran from this magic cave that he saw. It sounds very familiar to other things. All right. It was spread by war, spread by the sword. The hadith are there. And again, it is so full of contradictions. It calls for jihad 41 times. So again, one of the stupidest things an American president has ever said is that Islam is a religion of peace. It is a religion of war. It is a religion of conquest. It is the only way it can spread. All right, Annie Kami, you've been quiet, so let me come to you, ma'am. You live in Michigan, and I don't know how close you are to lovely Dearborn, Michigan, but up in the great state of Michigan, how is Sharia advancing, and are you seeing a lot of it in the areas you live in? Do you feel safe, and why haven't you evacuated that northern land yet?
I haven't evacuated because I have sick parents, so I take care of them. Otherwise, I would have evacuated, but they're in areas together. If you go to other cities, like they don't really waver out to other cities, but if you go to Dearborn, it no longer looks like a city in America at all. Like you won't even think you're in America.
Now, is it true that the police don't go in that area?
Well, no, I don't really agree with that because a lot of the police force now are Muslim and Arabic too. But they're not all like that, obviously. Like there's like, I talked about this on a space. I feel like they bring over the worst to America for like 20 years now, kind of intentionally. Like, I don't know why we would bring over people that have no desire to assimilate. So I think that we're not focusing on the problem with our own government, if that makes sense. Because, I know plenty of doctors and, educated people that don't act like crazy barbarians that have moved out of there. It's like, I just think that we've really brought over the worst of the worst, if that makes sense.
I would say yes to that as well. We have a lot of that people that come over are, especially during the Biden regime, that invasion was mostly unskilled workers. I will tell you that a lot of the foreigners I've met here, they are qualified. And I think, I could be wrong about this, that the leading ethnicity of graduating doctors is actually Indian Americans. So again, we are seeing the classic buy-in from some of the immigrants, but you're definitely right, QAC, in that we've got a lot of the dregs of society coming in. So we gotta do something about that. For those of you that
because
don't,
even when I say something to my civilized friends that are Arab Muslim, they're like, "Yeah, we even think they're barbarians, like the ones that like Sharia law and are like that backwards. We don't even want them here." So I feel like they've brought in over a lot of really backwards, like villagers from these places that are like the worst of the worst. But no, you do not. Like if you go to Dearborn, you risk like getting in a car accident because there's a lot of people, they've never driven cars. They're like on the road. And it's really like I have to brace for my life every time I drive in there. They do have good food. It's very loud and obnoxious. So once they take over a city, like all the white people want to leave anyway because they're like always screaming, like they don't really follow the rules here. So it's very loud and obnoxious and like 10 kids and like, just a lot of commotion at all times. And I don't want to say everyone, but a big majority is like that. And you will not recognize the city. Like I said, you will not know that you're in America. But I kind of felt that way in Miami, but with Latinos this couple weeks ago. So I don't know why we're letting in so many immigrants that it doesn't even feel like America.
You know, it's there was a saying when I worked for American Airlines. I was down in Miami for a while, and they said Miami is the only city where you can go from Spain to Israel just by crossing over a bridge, just because of the different ethnicities. Miami was a marvelous city to be in terms of food, though, from the different stuff.
But they have amazing food. Yeah,
I do have a question about, so Dearborn, you say you're not in an American city. Like, do you hear do they have the prayer calls 5 times a day over every speaker? I mean, basically, what makes it not America anymore? Like,
well, I can take a video for you. Like, the writing is not in
we would love that.
English.
Yeah.
It's not in English anywhere you go. Like, nobody really speaks English, and if they do, you really don't understand it. Like, it does not look like you're in America. The writing on every building is Arabic. So it's like they've literally taken the city over.
No,
completely.
I would love to see it. Every day on X, we see a new imam saying that they're going to implement Sharia. We see a new imam saying that they're going to take over our country. Now, 42% of American Muslims, just so you know, this isn't, it's not like that we're just calling out the few bad apples, which is what the left likes to tell us.
Right.
Now, 42% want Sharia to be the official law of the land. Now, I posted a video a couple of weeks ago where I walked through.
I believe that. I would say that's a fair percentage. I would say that that's true.
And I posted a video where what Sharia would mean to American women. And I can't understand why we're not doing anything about it. But the question I really have is, what could we do about it? Do we have the will to deport them? I don't think we do. I absolutely do not think we do. I mean, honestly, we need to go full Japan. No mosques, no halal, no celebration of days, and kick them all out. Nick, go ahead.
Unfortunately, I think you're going to have an event like 9/11 where enough Americans say enough. You would have to get the entire country to side with you on this.
Okay, but again, I got to be honest with you. I don't think our entire country is with us anymore. I think we have a solid 35% core of absolute traitors to the core concepts of the American constitutional republic. Why? Because they've been brought up to believe that the Constitution was written by slave owners, therefore it's not valid. They have no desire to defend this country. They've been taught that diversity is more important than unity of purpose. They have been taught to hate this country. I really think we are in dire straits as a country. Now, I'm not worried about it if it comes to civil war because, as I said, our side has the guns, the bullets, and the will and the knowledge and how to use them. But I don't think we are a unified nation even slightly anymore. We have 35% that know and care, 35% that know and absolutely think we are completely wrong. It's always an ignorant white person. I'm going to call it white-splaining to a minority how their rights have been taken. How many times do we see that on X? It just drives me literally insane. So, Rox, am I wrong? Do you think that we still have more Americans that are loyal? Is there anything that can unify this country short of an actual invasion? And even then, I don't think it would do it.
Sadly, I don't think you're wrong, and that's what kind of terrifies me a lot of the times. It really... I mean, I do think we still have a lot of Americans. I think a lot of us do keep quiet and we don't really speak up with this because, everybody's afraid of hurt feelings reports going around the entire nation because that's what they've made it feel like, oh my God, you're going to offend someone. But I do think we still do have more American values. However, I am in deep fear that it will be slowly slipping away.
I literally said that earlier today to my wife. I told her, I said, the good news is before Sharia is implemented, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be dead. Go ahead, Jim. You have your hand up, and then we'll come to you, Hope.
Oh, hey, Larry. Just wanted to alert you to one guy who was running something called the Muslim Oath Project, Steve Kirby. I put him in the purple pill. He's also got the Texas Mosque Monitor. And he says that along the same lines as what you were saying, All these Muslims that are running for office, they're unable to swear the oath to the Constitution, and they should be ineligible from being in public high office. And he is trying to get the education of that into the public sphere. He is very good on Spaces, and I would highly encourage you to get him on one of your shows.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you, Jim. We've got, you said that's been reposted, Nick. That way we got the name. Hey, just to let you guys know, my money's where my mouth is. I sat on the priorities committee for the county that I live in. All right, and I wrote the anti-Sharia, the anti-Islam priority, which left the county number one, and it was unanimously approved. And in that, we say that no Muslim should be allowed to hold statewide office because they cannot bear true faith and allegiance to the United States. Go ahead, Hope.
Yeah, thank you for the space. And yeah, what you're talking about is so important. I think that what you have seen, what you've all seen with Indiana and the way that people actually did get out to vote, we don't feel like this is home. This does not look like home. It does not feel like home. We do not hardly, I mean, not just because we can hardly afford it, but everywhere we go here in Evansville, it's mostly like Haitians. And when we go, it's been a long time, but when I was able to go to the hibachi grill, sometimes you see like the Asian, Japanese guy. It was like, it's Mexican dudes making hibachi now, or wherever they're from. Everywhere you go, they're like, the Haitians visit the liquor store a lot, and they are terrible drivers. There's always car accidents. Like, they just run into buildings. They run into buildings and poles and all kinds of stuff. Everywhere they go, they have a Bluetooth speaker or they're talking on their speakerphone. And when I went to the driver's license branch a few months ago, there was a woman that didn't speak English, and there was a child translating to the woman at the BMV. So I don't know if the woman was, getting a driver's license or if she was getting an identification card, but she did not speak English. And so, yeah, everywhere we go, and, I went to a Chinese buffet last year. Those people didn't speak any English. They had on My 600-Pound Life. I kind of feel like that was the trick to make you not want to eat their food. That was really weird. I asked them to change the channel, and they just acted like they couldn't hear me. But then I figured out they didn't know what I was saying. But yeah, and then in the Fort Wayne area, there's a FedEx, and I kept saying SID. I think it's actually called SIK, SIKH. There's
It's
a big
Sikhs. It's pronounced Sikhs.
the Indian community.
They're
very
from
big in
India,
Fort Wayne.
yes.
So I think that's a lot of the reason that you saw a lot more people getting out to vote, because we're sick of it. We actually have an immigration nonprofit called Save Heritage Indiana. And I mean, we're just so tired of it. And they keep extending the temporary protected status for the Haitians. They're everywhere. I mean, there's like 10,000 Haitians within a 50 or 60 mile radius of me.
I'm right there with you on
10%
that.
of the population here.
No, thank you. I definitely agree that is becoming a big issue. So I wanted to it's something I brought up earlier I was thinking about. And I don't know where, I must have missed that in my notes somewhere. Hold on. There we go. I did miss it. Here was the question from earlier today, and it's because I went down to that and I didn't go back, blah, blah, blah. Here's my question. If President Trump's term ends and not one Democrat is in jail for the 2020 theft, for the weaponization of the government, for Epstein, if we still have, as you said, the Haitians running around, that have no attempt to assimilate, if we have not solved our importation of all these people by massive deportation, will his second term be considered a success? I don't see how it will be. And I think that the main area he's been let down in is, one, the justice system is a complete joke. I mean, Bondi was basically, in my mind, a deep state plant to just do nothing, and she succeeded magnificently. And now we've got, we're a ton of immigrants that we don't want in this country. So, Rox, your thoughts on this?
You're gonna have to come back to me. I'm sorry, I got caught
That's
up
okay.
with something.
All right, I do see, I believe, forgive me, Miss Lou. Go ahead, ma'am. Miss Lou.
Miss Lou, can you hear Larry?
All right, so we'll, Southern, your thoughts, ma'am?
I'm sorry, Larry. Can you repeat it?
It's okay. I said, do you think that President Trump's administration is going to be considered a failure if we don't arrest any of these people that did all the bad things during the Biden regime? Basically, Epstein, 2020 theft, weaponization, etc., and if we don't deport a lot of these people?
It's definitely not looking good right now. I'm going to say it's going to depend on what else happens. I mean, I can forgive one thing if something else majorly comes of it.
So
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, a president can't do everything, but I do think it would be a failure if he doesn't do something about the weaponization. But that's kind of a different topic. I want to stick on this for just a second. Somebody posted, and Nick, I think I saw this come through, that, I'm advocating for only Christians to be representatives. That's not true. I just don't think Muslims can bear true faith and allegiance. Okay, you can be an agnostic and an atheist and still bear true faith and allegiance. You can be a Jewish man or woman and a whole host of other religions. It's just that one. That whole coexist bumper sticker, the C is the one that can't get along with the O, E, X, I, S, and T. That's the problem. All right, go ahead, Jim.
Hey, Larry, I don't think it would be a success if he didn't, if we didn't have mass arrests of many of the treasonous, corrupt politicians in both parties. I don't think it's limited just to Democrats. I think that there was a ridiculous amount of fraud, treason, and corruption at all levels of government. And it is without a doubt the biggest disappointment for everybody that supported Trump, because if you went to any of his rallies, his main topic was literally accountability, and then second was draining the swamp. So I voted for deep state destruction. I wanted it all to be dismantled.
Absolutely. Yep.
And the fact that we have a bigger government now than when he took office is the third layer of disappointment. So you had Doge come in, point out massive corruption, fraud in all parts of the government, and I've seen nothing, absolutely nothing from that. And that is also terrible. So the fact that we haven't seen massive cuts in the size of government, we haven't seen the massive deportations that we were promised, and we haven't seen the accountability throughout all the layers of government is just, it tells you that the deep state is still running the show. And if he leaves without there being any of that dismantling, we're right back where we started, because everything that he did can be completely undone in a heartbeat. There is nothing that he's done that cannot be put back to where it was in 2021. So absolutely, totally a massive, massive failure if he doesn't hold all politicians accountable, not just Democrats.
I'm with you. I'll be honest with you, I'm really worried about it because, I mean, guys, we've got the Senate, we've got the House, we've got the president, and we can't get anything done. We're at a point in my analysis where when any form of government becomes destructive of those ends, I think we're there. Our government does not represent the people anymore. Go ahead, Miss Lou.
Thank you for the mic, Larry. Hey,
Yes, ma'am.
Southern, Gerlanda, and everybody else. All good points. Everybody's bringing up really amazing points, and I want to bring up a couple more on this topic. One, we have to your point, a Republican majority in Congress and an executive branch, kind of feeling like Paul Ryan's era, isn't it? And the reason for that is we can't even get the Save America Act passed. There's a big warning right there. Okay. Yep. The second thing is Josh Hawley and Jim Burgett just came out of congressional hearings, and they stated flatly what JFK had been saying all along, and look what happened to him for it. You guys talk about the deep state. They said that the CIA and the USIC, which also includes the military complex, is controlling the government. Absolutely flat out. They're trying to get things done in specific bills, and they're getting slam dunked immediately by our own government. So, are we infiltrated? We're so infiltrated, we can't even count the Chinese spies that are in this country and in our labs and in the universities. And as far as Islam goes, I agree with you guys. If there are people, I'm not going to say everyone because you hate to go that deep, but when you realize that these people are controlled by radical imams in these mosques, even those who came to this country, spoke English, and wanted to assimilate, they're not going to be allowed to, because Islam means submission. That is the absolute definition of the word. So we are faced with everything on every front. And if you go back and look at good old Yuri Bezmenov, ex-KGB, all the steps of the infiltration, if you go back and listen to YouTube and the 1980s lectures to UCLA, he states right where we're at. And I'll land with that. Thank you guys very much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Welcome. Glad to have you back. Great points as always. On the whole, Islamization thing. I mean, I ran against a guy that literally allowed Muslim Appreciation Day in the Capitol. We don't hold our opponents. I mean, we don't hold our politicians accountable. That alone should be a disqualifying measure. Everyone on the Frisco City Council that voted to approve this mosque, in other words, all 6 of them need to be recalled, and we're exploring that right now. Okay, coming to you, Jeremiah. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, great space, great topics, 100%. What I want to point out is I've heard a lot of Democrats. Until we realize that the Republicans are just as deeply involved in this, we're not going to move the needle. And I think the midterms are extremely important in this, because to where your points on the Doge and things not happening, investigations not happening, we have to understand Congress holds the power of the purse. And a lot of this funding is coming from NGOs. And I mean, the destruction of our country is coming out of these NGOs. Yes. You could go all the way back to Bush Sr. and his 1,000 Points of Lights, where he, amplified, promoted, and pushed for NGOs to start forming across this country. And Andy and myself are not the popular ones on this platform, but we are on Substack. We've been pointing this out extremely well to the best of our abilities for the last 5 years. If you track the problem and try to find where it started and then the solution, it's coming out of these nonprofits that are return funding, lobbying, pushing these agendas. And not just our focus mainly is on the child welfare system, but if you look deep into that, you can see this all, coming from the Muslim side to, I don't have to tell you guys everything that's taken place. I mean, obviously you can see it with the Southern Poverty Law Center and et cetera.
Okay.
But that is the main focus. And until we realize that and on a grassroots level, start pushing back on our representatives, it's not going to change. And I think that should be our focus. And not just on Democrats, but on the Republican side as well. We have to hold our representatives accountable. Someone mentioned Josh Hawley a minute ago. The man is doing phenomenal work. He's pushing back on all of, the proper things. He's just getting stonewalled by his own not constituents, but the people within the positions of power that won't support him. And that's one of the issues that we need to focus on as grassroots. Like, it's we the people that make the change, not the people in Washington.
Yeah.
Right? They know we have the power to primary them and to get them out,
but
put people in that position to do the things that need to be done. But if we don't hold their feet to the fire, we're just putting them in there, and then money's taking control.
Yes, sir. I mean, the problem, though, is we really never do. I mean, this is a rare midterm in that we've seen a long-term sitting congressman in Kentucky go down. We've seen, I believe it's 2 senators so far, Livingston, and I don't know who the other guy is. And hopefully tomorrow night we'll see that Cornyn goes down. So, I mean, this is a very rare midterm. Now, the reason I don't mention the Republicans that much is I want MAGA, the Christian American movement, to consume the Republican Party from the inside. You have to have some vehicle inside our government unless you're going to rewrite it. And let's be honest, that would be a complete and utter disaster. But in the finest military tradition, all right, I am going to say that there is a solution to this. And that would have been for President Trump to adequately staff the weaponization working group. Okay, I mean, I could be wrong, and I don't think I am, obviously, but Data Republican has revealed how many examples of fraud. So I have a working group, I have a designated grand jury just for the weaponization of the government against people or for fraud. And then I take that and I take Data Republican's data and I go into the grand jury and I get my indictments and I put these people in jail. I immediately arrest them and they will all start singing like canaries. It's a simple thing. You just have to have the political will to do it, but we don't. Why? Because the vast majority of these NGOs probably have political wives or spouses involved in the process or relatives. I mean, we see that right now with John Cornyn's daughter here in Texas. Again, that's the grift. It's the old system. All right, the government gives these NGOs money. The NGOs give the money to some of the employees that are related to the government people, or they donate directly into the apps, into the campaigns for these politicians. It's just an endless loop cycle, and you know who gets screwed? We do. And it doesn't stop unless we get a populist president in there. Okay, Miss Lou, I'm going to come back to you real quick, and then, unfortunately, folks, I'm going to wrap. But I do want to say this. Thank you for everyone that's back in this space today. I love seeing you all here, and we will be back at it again next week. But Miss Lou, go ahead, ma'am, and then I'm going to cover one comment
sentence,
from Facebook.
Larry, thank you so much to wrap it up so everybody can saddle up and ride out.
You bet.
I just want to say that getting rid of Doge was another really big warning sign. When Elon Musk got out of D.C., that was a huge warning of the pressures that were going to go against us on waste, fraud, and abuse. Thank you.
No, you're absolutely right. All right, Lynn, all right, the Toons family, all right, I just had an epiphany. How about instead of jail time for soft criminals, we offer military service to set them straight? Did you know I actually talked about that with judges? The problem is the rules and the laws would need to be changed. You can do it at the state level, and what I would like to see is for misdemeanors and nonviolent crimes, that be given as an option. That being said, with the military concurring, because you can't just walk in, Joe Bag of Donuts off the street and hand somebody a gun. You know, today's infantryman is a highly, highly skilled individual, but great comment there. All right, Dr. A could not be here today because she's got 2 campaign events on Memorial Day. She thinks there's a fairly good probability that she might make it through in California to the runoff, which would be amazing considering their jungle primary system. So hopefully she will be successful in that. All right, I'm going to wrap up, and again, I told you I was in a salty mood with a quote from Yellowstone and John Dutton. All right, cowards rule the world these days, Rip, with cowards' rules and cowards' customs. To succeed today, all you got to know is how to blame and how to complain. It is survival of the unfittest. All right, I am pointing the finger squarely at American men. Your days of being weak need to come to a close. All right, get involved in a church, get that church politically active, and get out and vote like the country depends on you alone. So get out and do it. God bless each and every one of you. Have a great week as we go. Rox, any last words? All right.
No, thank you for everything, and thank you guys for coming. I hope you, again, remember what today is all about. It is honoring the fallen who gave up their life and everything for your freedoms and our country, so please do not let them